Welcome to Stuart Miller's fourth podcast.
Welcome.
And for the viewers, we've got Mentesh, somebody who's very close to our hearts at Stuart Miller. And without further ado, Mentesh, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Mentesh. It's nice to meet you guys.
Thank you. Okay, how did we meet? Can you remember how we met?
I certainly can. At the time, I was on drugs and I'd been arrested. Can't remember what it was for. I think it was the theft of a mobile phone.
Yes.
Or something to that effect. They arrested me, took me to court. On that day, several duty solicitors had come knocking the door to say that, you need a solicitor, whatever. I was basically fobbing them off, telling them to go. I just wanted to sleep. And then it comes to near enough, I think, the end of the day, around 4 o'clock.
It was 4:30 it was.
All right, 4:30. And I hear my door knock again. I thought, what was this? And I woke up to see it was Mohammed Zeb. And he said to me, listen, it's 4:30. It was a Friday evening. He's saying, you need to get out of court, come in front of the judge. I basically, at the time, told him to but he was adamant that he wanted to help me, in which I listened, and that's how we met.
And we got bail.
And we got bail.
And we got bail.
Yeah, and we got bail, yes.
All right, Mentesh. It's been clearly a long road ahead. And before we go into it, can I just remark, well done. I mean, you've clearly
thank you.
Turned your life around. It's been 15 hard years, but
Yeah.
we've done it and we've got there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you some questions, but this is not about us. It's about you, your journey,
Yeah.
And how it all started, how you were on top of the world, nearly a top football player,
Yep.
and how it spiraled out of control. Right, so tell us about yourself.
Yeah.
Your previous convictions, what kind of offending history do you have?
At first, it was like really, it started off with fraud, and then obviously it went into burglaries at the time. Then it went into a lot of thefts at the time.
Yeah.
It was a bit of criminal damage as well, and assaulting police officers.
Not that you enjoyed that, of course.
Not that I enjoyed that. Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Tell me about your early life, your childhood.
My childhood was very good up to like, I never even got arrested until I was about 31 years old, to be honest.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, until the age of about 31, I've never been arrested. As a child, I used to go to school. I was all right in school. As my main concentration was football. I was at Arsenal when I was 13, and then they gave me a week-to-week basis when I hit contract. When I was 18, which I didn't really. I accepted it, but I didn't really want to because it was a 2-year apprenticeship that they were meant to give me. And then from there, I left and went to Leyton Orient. From Leyton Orient, I went to Turkey. From Turkey, I went to Cyprus, and I tried everywhere basically. Then I got some injuries, which I'm suffering today. So yeah, then obviously my football career ended through injuries, and then the worst thing happened to me was losing my dad, and then this is how this crime.
Okay, so unfortunately, your father passed away.
Yes.
And we all deal with grief in a different way.
Yes.
And clearly, your life took a turn for the worse. Yes. I mean, what happened? How did you deal with it?
I couldn't deal with it, to be honest. I couldn't deal with it for many years after that. There's the times that was the first time I ever started drugs, when I lost my father. And then I had a bit of money which my father left me. And then basically from there on, once I spent that money, then that's when the crime started.
It's going to start. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, when the petrol finishes, you need to get fuel from somewhere.
That's right.
So in terms of drugs, from what you're saying, look, my father passed away and I was finding it difficult to cope. Why not get professional help? Why not go to the doctor, speak to somebody?
To be honest with you, at the time, I didn't think of professional help. I didn't think I needed it. I started off with amphetamine speed. Someone spiked me with amphetamine speed.
Yeah.
And I liked that buzz that night, although I didn't know what amphetamine speed was. Someone put it in my drink, but it made me forget about my dad and everything else, and it gave me a relaxation buzz. Do you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I just thought, yeah, this is hiding the fact of my dad's death. But the minute that you was off that drug, that thoughts will still come back again.
Boom, back into reality.
Back into reality.
Out of being catapulted into a different universe.
That's right.
Back to reality again.
That's
and
right.
It's a low again, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
So
yes.
from what you're saying is you need that high again.
Yes.
And it's amphetamine 1 minute, then on to...
Then it was onto the cocaine. I'd done about probably about a year or a year and a bit on cocaine. Then I got introduced into crack. How I got introduced to crack was that they said to me it was cocaine. I sniffed it.
Yeah.
I sniffed, I could see it was a bit off colour, but obviously they told me it was cocaine, so I sniffed it.
Yeah.
And then I ended up in Homerton Hospital.
Yeah.
And then doctor had asked me, did you take anything illicit? And I said, yes, I did. I've taken cocaine. And he said to me, how did you take this cocaine? I said, I sniffed it. He said to me, was it crack cocaine? I didn't even know what crack cocaine was at that time. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was introduced to that as cocaine, not crack cocaine.
So for you to get amphetamines, i.e. for it to be put into your glass and it's been spiked, and thereafter being given cocaine, then crack cocaine, clearly there's got to be some form of dealers. I mean, how did you get hold of these people?
I didn't get hold of the dealers. It was basically, the way it's happened to me was, it was very mad. It was friends that we went out to a club in Birmingham. It was Millionaires Club.
Yeah.
We went there, we had two birds with us. My mate had the amphetamine speed and he thought it would spark up the night for a bit. And they knew about it and he had spiked me. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I just felt funny. 20 minutes later, I started feeling this mad buzz, this mad rush, this mad, I couldn't stand on my feet. I just wanted to talk to, I was loving people. Do you know what I'm saying? So it felt good. The downside was obviously the come down from it, from speed. But then obviously it triggered the cocaine off. The crack, I really didn't know what was going on with the crack. And to be honest with you, my brother introduced me to the crack cocaine.
Shocking. Okay, so now you're addicted. Now, we're going to come back to the dealers in terms of how they put it on you and how much you need. But let's deal with the crime first.
Okay.
For you to get the drugs, you've got to fund it.
Yes.
And it takes some kind of minerals for you to go and commit a crime.
Yes.
In short, it's not going to be violent crime, it's going to be dishonesty, isn't it?
Yes.
So, your first crime, what was it?
My first crime, I remember it was, I think it was a fraud case, my first crime, no?
I think it was, yeah.
I think it was the fraud case, which I'd frauded somewhere, was it with a card? I can't remember that. I went and took money, obviously used the card as buying bits and cash out of it and whatever. But I got sort of disciplined for it. I didn't get time for it.
Yeah.
I got disciplined for it. But these were happening like, obviously where the drugs were involved, this was happening like every 2-3 days now.
Yeah.
And every time that I was getting caught, I was going in front of the judge. I got about 3-4 chances of not going to jail.
Yeah.
And obviously the 5th time, that's when I got started getting.
Okay. So, in short, you're now, where you were an up and coming, I don't know, footballer, you've now left that world to, you know, partying and drugs, and thereafter more harder drugs.
Yes.
From what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
The party stopped.
And the party stopped.
Yes.
Your friends that were with you at those parties, still in your life at that stage, or backs turned?
Backs turned. Everyone's backs. Well, the minute they heard that I was on the crack cocaine, everyone's back turned against me. Also, the money that I had spunked at the time, I had no more money left. So they again moved away from me.
What about your family?
My family was quite helpful from at the beginning, to be honest. Like they knew what situation I was in, and they were trying to drag me out of it.
Yeah.
But where I wasn't ready to be dragged out of, I kept on doing the same things over and over again. So your family can only try and help you up to a certain extent. Then they've got to let go when you're causing them grief.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
And then when you're causing them grief, clearly you're funding a habit.
Yeah.
And therefore it means taking things off them.
Obvious, 100%.
So what happened then? Did you take things off them?
Right, yes, I did. Yes, I did. I mean, I went round, I think, I can't exactly remember who and what and whatever. Apart from the family, it was my friends as well. Like I used to take like £300-400, lying to them about my car's been broken down or my car's been towed, or I'll go around my family's house, and if there was like a score note or money lying around that I see, I'll take it, and God, I was gone with it. And then, you know, these things. And in fact, 1 or 2 times that they just, you know, they turn a blind eye to it.
Yeah.
But then it happened again and again and again. And obviously, then they won't allow you in their house.
As you say, there's only so much a person can take.
That's
So
right.
you, at the same time, were in a successful marriage. You were married.
I was married, yes. Well, yeah.
Kids?
I had one daughter, yeah.
And that in itself had a detrimental effect.
Of course, it was my dad's death and that thereafter. Because you got to remember, my dad died in 1998.
Yeah.
And then my missus left me in 1999.
Yeah.
I don't blame her because I didn't have time for her anymore.
Yeah.
After my dad's death,
Yeah.
I didn't want to be, I just wanted to be left alone. So I had no time for her or the kid at that time.
So now you're in a parallel universe.
Yes.
So you're existing for the drugs.
Yes.
Not for them.
Yes.
And as you pointed out, there's only so much somebody can take before it's goodbye.
Goodbye.
Okay.
Exactly.
So now you're committing offences to feed a habit. You've lost your home.
Yep.
You've no friends or family left.
Yep.
So you're on the streets.
I'm on the street. I was on the street.
Your experience of being on the streets
was a nightmare.
So, why? I mean, it's London. It's not as if it's Birmingham or Manchester. Why is it a nightmare?
Well, because I had hit rock bottom. Now, being on the streets at rock bottom, is not a nice place to be. Basically, you know, once the night time hits, the cold, you got nowhere to go, you got nowhere to sleep, you got nowhere to live, nothing. You can't shower, you can't, basically, you haven't got those things to do. Kind of, it puts you on a low, like you feel very low. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, at that time, I was embarrassed of going next to someone just in case they smelt me. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how bad I felt. I used to go into hospitals and sleep on their benches and
Accident
emergencies, and sometimes I used to go into wards where there was an empty bed and I used to sleep there. And I've had murders with security guards where they've chucked me out. I used to go into the toilets, the disability toilets, and lock the door from inside and sleep on the floor in there.
So
Do you know what I'm saying?
That's you,
Yeah.
okay? Now, I get it. Look, you're living in a universe not conventional to normal mainstream life. And I get it, yeah? But Joe Public, how did Joe Public treat you? Did you get people who are more kind of accommodating towards you, like, you know, feeling sorry for you, helping you out? Or is it like, get away from him, he's that crackhead kind of guy?
Yes,
don't want to know.
exactly that. It was move away. You are some crackhead, basically. That's how it was. On numerous occasions, to try and get back on track, I went to like Enfield Council.
Yeah.
I went to the probation services. I went to like a lot of places to try and seek help because, yes, I was what I was, but I wanted to sort of get out of that. But with accommodation, I can only do it. I couldn't do it while I was on the street because I used to take drugs and walk around until the morning. Do you know what I'm saying? And I can only do that when I was on drugs. I couldn't do that when I was normal.
But coming back to what I said, I mean, surely the whole of society wasn't shunning and avoiding you. Somebody must have said, okay, hi, not a problem, I can help you, here's a pound, here's a penny.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm to be honest with you, I never used to ask people on the street for money.
Yeah.
I used to ask friends like yourself and like people that really didn't know what I was up to.
But I knew
but then found out what I was up to, and still, like yourselves, I mean, every time that I did call you or I did come to your office and whatever, and I asked you for 20, 40 quid, you gave it to me. Do you know what I'm saying? And you was probably the only one. Yeah.
Look, I'll comment that. I mean, it's not about me. I'm just
No, it's not about.
Just to come back on that point, there's a reason why, and I'll tell you why. Having done this job for many, many years, when somebody comes to you and they need help, I know where this is going to go. It's either going to be go to a shop, nick something, or knock somebody else and take something, which will end up in a custodial sentence. To avoid that, not a problem. But again, put that to one side.
Yeah.
I mean, coming back to it, look, you moved on from there, and like you've committed offences, yeah?
Yep.
Now, how many years? I mean, you started committing offences at the age of 31. How old are you now?
Now?
Yeah.
53.
Okay. How many years in total did you spend in prison? Wasted.
Well, I've done about, out of them 20 years that I've done crime, because you've got to remember, this thing started off 2002.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, I've been out 3 years now.
Yeah.
So, we're talking about 2021. So, we're talking 20 years.
So now we've committed, you know, a whole load of offences.
Yes.
The courts and the police are fed up with you.
Yes.
A point now comes where you're no longer going home.
Yes.
So your first experience of prison, what was it like?
It was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare, but I had obviously done the crime, so I had to do the time. So I went in, got used to that life, and then when I got used to the inside and it rehabilitated me. When I mean rehabilitated me, I wasn't obviously on a detox wing or anything like that, but that was the place where I felt good, that I had a bed, I had food, and I was back to normality.
So let's just talk about it. So you're in court and you think you're going to go home and the judge says, I'm sentencing you to X amount of time in custody. How did you feel?
Yeah, at that point I thought, like, what am I going to be doing now?
You must have heard about prison. I mean, you must have had some thoughts about prison.
Of course. And I heard that it was a bad place to go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I was dreading going to prison. Do you know? But also what I've got to say is, after the time that I've done in prison, it has got me where I am today. Do you know what I'm saying?
So you're now in prison. You are a drug user.
Yep.
How did you cope? I mean, you clearly need that hit. What
Right.
did you do?
How I coped was, when I went in there and I was obviously coming down from the drugs, for one whole week I would not get out of my bed. I had officers' screws or whatever opening my door, putting my plate there with food, and just closing the door. I wouldn't get out for association. I wouldn't get out for no showers. I wouldn't get out for phone calls or nothing. I would just sleep that whole week. And then on the 8th or 9th day, I'll be waking up, obviously with aches and pains here and there and whatever, go and have the shower, whatever, come back, sleep again, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th day. Then I sort of was coming back to myself. I felt good when I was coming back to myself. It made me feel a lot more energized and like, you know, you're speaking to people normally, do you know what I mean? Sleeping normal times, you're eating at normal times, you're waking up at normal times.
So there's a question now. So clearly, you went cold turkey, and you did it yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And as you say, it took about 8-9 days literally to get it out your system, but not out your body per se. You got the aches and pains.
Yeah.
Okay. And now you're doing your time in prison. You're doing the courses.
Yes.
Then there's the glitch, isn't there? I mean, you've done it once, but how many times did it take you to go back into prison, to go cold turkey and come back?
Well, I'm not going to lie, but how many times? I must have been in and out about 60, 70 times. I don't even know.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And the reason why I asked you this question is because people actually think it's easy. I mean, we have access to a lot of reports, a lot of solicitors do, in relation to DRR and mental health assessments. And a lot of people will say you've been given the opportunity and that's the end of it.
Yeah.
But it's not as simple as that.
Yeah.
Explain why it's not that simple.
It's not that simple because the reason why, you've done your sentence, you've come back out. You've gone back and you've mixed with the same crowd. That crowd now, are around you and they're still doing what they're doing. So what happens is, if not then, slowly, you fall back into that situation. You think to yourself, let me try one, it's not gonna hurt, this, that and the other. And then next minute, couple of days down the line, you're back on it again.
That's what people tell me.
Yeah.
People say, look, it's easier said than done. You know, you're on the DRR, you get the rehabilitation, you go cold turkey, and you come out like Superman.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do this, but I'm released back to the same environment I was in.
Yeah.
Alternatively, you think to yourself, you know, the devil gets the better of you. Just have a hit. Don't worry about it. You're clean now. Just have one hit, just for old time's sake.
Yes.
And then boom,
You're back in.
you're back in.
Yeah, especially with me. I mean, I used to come out. I used to do well when I used to come out. If I was like on a DRR, I used to do well. I used to go through the DRR, negative piss test, negative everything. The minute my DRR finished, and I knew that I never had that responsibility anymore, I'll be somewhere, just take one line. It'll be fine. And with me, even today, I can't take one line, not even a thing line.
You don't even smoke no more.
No.
I mean, you don't sit in the same room as anybody who smokes.
Yeah.
Okay, turning back a bit, you've now been in and out on multiple occasions, as you said, and you're trying to go clean.
Yeah.
Is it true that you have kind of dealers hanging about DRR rooms and you have got dealers who actively approach you on the road saying, look, just take one more hit, it's not a problem?
Yes, you do. You do have those kind of people. You do have people running down your phone. What's that when we've heard you're out and don't you want to buy off us anymore? Or, you know, you do have these kind of people, you know, ringing down your phone, especially when they're used to the sort of money that you was giving them. Do you know what I'm saying? And then all of a sudden that's been cut. That's stopped. Do you know what I'm saying? So obviously when they hear that you're out, or if they see you, oh yeah, listen, I'll take one for free first. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. You do get them, of course you do.
People need to know this because that in itself is a double-edged sword.
Yeah.
One is the fact that you now got access to a dealer. You know there's dealers out there.
Yes.
But secondly, now you're fighting with yourself.
Yes.
Should I, shouldn't I, should I, shouldn't I?
Yes.
And if you get some bad news, or alternatively, you're alone in that hostel
Yep.
where there's nobody else and you're surrounded by users, then, you know, it's
100%.
a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. The police. Remember, you're not gang affiliated.
No.
Okay? You've not been arrested for sexual offences.
No.
More violence and theft and fraud related offences.
Yes.
Your experience of the police.
To be honest with you, I've had a nightmare of a time with the police. I mean, where they've like broke my elbow to something that I never done, and then they released me thereafter. If you remember, in Tottenham Police Station, they smashed me to bits and things like that. So I've had very, very, very bad experience with the police. You know, I used to get stopped for no reason at all. I even had to ring up the chief inspector of Edmonton Police Station and say to him, listen, today I got pulled up. I was on the straight and narrow at the time. Yeah, I got pulled up for no reason. I had a box of tomatoes, cucumbers, whatever, for the shop that I was working at. And they opened it up and they said to me, where did you nick this from? Trying to entice me to you know, say something or do something with them. Do you know what I'm saying? And I rang up the chief inspector and I said, listen, I feel harassed by your officers. I need help. I have not taken drugs. I've stopped. I've moved out of that life now. Do you know what I'm saying? And the chief inspector said to me, you're mentesh, you know? I said, yes. And he said to me, mate, there's nothing I can do. You need to move out of Enfield Borough, yeah, for you to not be harassed by our police anymore. Do you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying, so I'm going to just kind of come back on that.
Okay.
And you said it, not me.
Yeah.
If the chief inspector of police is saying to you,
Yeah.
you are mentesh,
Yeah.
you need to know that you are a prolific offender.
Yes.
And I, more than anybody else, know how frequently you were arrested.
Yes.
Okay? So let's just stop there and come back on a few points. If the police are stopping you, they're acting usually on reasonable grounds to suspect you may be carrying stolen or prohibited articles, okay? And they're just doing the basic stop and search.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that now?
Believe it or not, since I've been out of prison, like not recently, about 3.5 years now, I've never been stopped. I've never been stopped. I'm not living in the manor in Enfield. I'm living out the manor, and everything's that side of it stopped. It's stopped. I don't get stopped, but I go abiding by what the law is. You know, I drive. You know, according to the law. Seatbelts, phone. I don't speak on the phone.
That's mentesh. Where's the seatbelt? Just to let you know. And it's impressive.
Yes. I just stick by the law basically now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But it doesn't mean that I like the police.
Okay. Coming back to it then, I've got to ask this question. And you know firsthand more than anybody else, because you've had experiences with the police, hands-on.
Yeah.
Do you think the police abuse their powers?
Yes, I do.
Why?
Reason being is because, you know, when they kind of stop you, we know. Listen, we know that you're the police. You don't have to do certain things to prove that you have that power with your black and white uniform. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it's you know the way they like sit there, don't move there. You're not a dog. People can talk to you in a normal manner. Listen, you've been arrested at the minute, yeah? We need to like find out what the reason is, whatever, or you've been stopped for this reason. You know, the way they manhandle you, the way they talk to you, do you know what I'm saying? It makes you feel low, and then you get your back up. You wanna have a go at them back. I mean, I've done it loads of times. They used to get my back up by them stopping me. Do you know what I mean? The minute I used to come out the car, I know what was happening. I was getting arrested.
So their diplomacy isn't very good.
Yes.
Okay, and I get what you're saying. You're exerting your authority, but I ain't going nowhere. I'm not going to attack you. Please back off. But they've got a job to do.
Yes.
Remember, they're frontline policing. It's Metropolitan Police, North London Policing.
Yeah.
If not London as it holds. It's a dangerous place. So do you blame them?
Yes and no. Yes and no. Do you know what I mean? They kind of treat different people differently as far as I'm concerned. Like, they will treat someone like me like a scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah? And they'll treat someone which is a white version of me in a different way. you know what I'm saying?
I get what you're saying. In your opinion, you think that there's two-tier policing, one rule for one and one rule for another, and I get it.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on from there then. Now, clearly you've managed to turn your life around.
Yes.
And it's taken you near enough
22 years.
22 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's been an uphill struggle. Hopefully it will not continue to be a struggle. You're at that place where you wanted to be.
Yes.
But just getting to that then, okay? You were afforded many opportunities, getting your drug rehabilitation requirement and attending probation. Why did you breach? Why would you breach the order? Why did you continue to take drugs?
To be honest with you, I didn't see it as a help. Imagine, you're trying to come off one depression of drugs. Yeah. You go to a probation, and the probation is sitting there and telling you what you're about. They're telling you it's X, Y, Z. You're telling them, no, it's not X, Y, Z. What I'm telling you is, I need a roof over my head. Yeah? Give me a roof over my head. Help me. I need this. This is what I need to start again. Do you know what I'm saying? They're telling you different things like, for instance, I'll give you an example. Like when they asked me about my daughter, they're trying to tell me that I've never seen my daughter when I used to see my daughter on a regular basis. Do you see what I mean? They're telling me, how would you be able to see your daughter? Well, I did used to see her, yeah.
I get it. Look, they act on information received.
Yeah.
Sometimes intelligence is good and sometimes intelligence is bad. I get it.
Yeah.
But the agency is there to assist you.
Right.
And ultimately, it did assist you.
Yes.
When you finally listened, look at where you are now.
So I'll be very honest with you. That this time round, I got the tagging officer, that come to assess me, which was the probation officer at Highdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looked at me, and he was the most helpfulest probation officer that I've ever had in my life. He looked at me and he said, listen, you've started crime when you was X years old, like later on in your life.
Yeah.
What's caused this? He listened to me. He sat there and actually listened to me. And I said to him, listen, I'm telling you now, if you give me an address that I can go to when I leave this prison, far away, I want to stop everything. I want to stop all these drugs, all these crimes, all these things. And he said to me, are you sure that's the only thing? And I said, yes, I'm 100%. I will promise you today that I come out of this prison and I've got somewhere to go to, and just be away from everyone for a while. I will come back into society. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So he helped me. He said to me, I'm going to do whatever I can within my powers, because I could see that you're a late starter and you only do this when you're on drugs. Yeah. Because I don't commit crime like now. I don't commit crime. I only did it to support my habit.
My experiences of you, I mean, clearly it's been 20 years, and that's a long time, if not more. And we've got you out, and you've gone back in again.
Yes.
And then on other occasions, you wanted to go back in again.
Yes.
To clean yourself out.
Yep.
But I remember once, it was about 4:30 in the morning. It was North London, Bounds Green Road, at a petrol station.
Yes.
And I was getting ready to go to a faraway court towards Truro, Devon, Exeter, wherever it was, and I had to go. And I've come out the car, and who do I see?
Me.
I see you.
With a group of people.
And I give you the most dirtiest look. Yeah. And I knew them as well.
Yes.
And I asked you to go home and stop what you're doing.
Yes.
And you kind of felt embarrassed because
I did.
We got you out a week before.
Yeah. At that time, you knew that I was clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for you to be out at that time
meant something. Yes.
Meant something.
Yeah. Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
And clearly, I actually called your daughter.
Yes.
Yes. And says, tell him, don't call me again. Don't you remember?
Yeah.
And you called me the next day saying, look, thanks for that. You know what? It was a wake-up call. Yeah. Explain what happened.
Well, but as you said, it was the BP petrol station at Bounds Green. Yeah. It was about 4:35, something like that.
4:35 in the morning it was.
I had a group of guys in the car that we stopped to put up. I think it was petrol. Yeah. And I bumped into you. I tried to hide.
You did.
I tried to hide at the time, but obviously you had seen me. You did give me the most vicious look, and you turned back, got in your car, and you did drive off. And then I got a call from my daughter that same day to state that apparently Zeb's seen you in the car. You're with a group of people that was taking drugs and whatever, because he knew them as well. And I said, I did. I've done a mistake. He said never to call him again. So when I come back to myself the following day, I did call you. And I remember that, I remember.
So the point of this podcast is you're in the best position at the moment to explain to those who are currently dependent upon drugs to show that there's life after drugs.
100%.
But what are the key things you need to have in place for you to move on from that horrible disease?
The key, to me, I'm saying about myself, the most important thing, if you're inside, for instance, or in jail and you come out to better your life, like to become clean, the phone that you have got, you have to throw them contact, the whole phone, just throw it in a bin.
Yeah.
Move on. Do you know what I'm saying? Move on. Don't go. Personally, I didn't come back into the area where I knew the associates. I moved out.
Yeah.
I got rid of my contacts. And I started my life all over again. And I stayed in that house for about 8-9 months.
Yeah.
Never moved out, come down or anything. For 9 months I stayed there. Do you know what I'm saying? All I used to go was to Tesco and back home. Tesco and back home. I had a TV. I sat in front of the TV, and that's all I used to do for 9 months until I felt more belief in myself that I can now come out to people. And I still didn't feel it. I moved from that address because it was a tagging address.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
I moved to Brent Cross. I went to Brent Cross. I stayed in that studio flat for about another year thereafter.
And that was the size of a cell as well, that studio flat. It was
Yes,
really tiny.
yes,
It was.
yes.
Yeah.
It was 100%. I went there. I stayed there. I just got my Sky Sports, all the football on. I started involving myself back into the football again. All them old contacts, everyone was thinking, where is he? Is he dead? Is he this? Is he that? All of them I wiped out at that time. Today, it's been, 3.5 years. Now, now I do see them. I don't stop and associate with them. I say hello if I'm driving past. I would never go out for a drink with them. I would never go into, to see them, to their house or anything like that. I'll stay away. I'm still away. I live in Windsor now, Maidenhead, you know. I live out there. I don't associate with none of the people that I used to associate with. Today, I associate with people that are non-drug takers.
Okay. So the starting point from what you're saying is moving away and getting rid of your old associates.
Yes, 100%. The phone's the most dangerous thing.
How important is family in your road to rehabilitation?
Right. I had to obviously prove to my family that I had changed.
Yeah.
Now, today even, certain family members are all right.
Yeah.
Some ain't. They're waiting for me to.
That's family, man.
Yes. They're waiting for me to drop. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But obviously, the more this is going on, the more belief they're having.
Yeah.
And the more they're listening. You know, the ones that don't talk to me at the minute. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, you're trying to chisel your way back into a family and have some purpose. It's going to take time.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on from there, look, you are an ex-criminal.
Yes.
You are an ex-user.
Yes.
It's very important what you say now in relation to up-and-coming users, young kids getting involved in the drug scene, be it gas, be it cannabis, be it sniff, be it spice or whatever these posh drugs are in this day and age.
Yeah.
What message would you put out to them?
Waste of time. Waste all these drugs that people want. They think that they want to take and they want to be high and whatever. It's a waste of space to me.
Yeah.
Waste.
Space, life,
everything. You're damaging your health. One. Your psychology. Your brain. Two. You become this different person when you're on this drug.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? On any drugs, in fact, you become this different. Like you could become this evil person. You could become this you change from being a nice person to an evilish person. You start talking to people aggressively. You start acting aggressively because you haven't got your fix yet, and things like that. To me, it's a waste of space now. I mean, I would never, ever touch drugs again, touch wood.
On a final note, I should have mentioned it earlier, but I'm just looking at the scars you've got on your head.
Yes.
I mean, what happened?
I was in Muswell Hill, Queensway.
Yeah.
Queensway. It was about 1 o'clock at night. I see some young lady getting her bag dropped off. Some guy balaclavaed up and whatever. And I stepped in to help the lady to stop it.
You were homeless at the time?
I was homeless at the time, yeah. I stepped in to help this lady, got her away from him. Yeah. And then the guy, obviously I didn't know, he had a bag, which in his bag was a knife. Machete. And he's come and he's hit me from behind with the machete.
Yeah.
And then obviously when I've gone to turn around, I was taking drugs at the time, so I didn't feel nothing.
Yeah.
When I've gone to turn round, he's gone to lace me on the head, and I've had to kind of defend it. Do you know what I'm saying?
And your finger.
And my finger, yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, and my finger. So where I've gone to block it, the doctor said to me, if you didn't go to block it, it would have killed you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, and then obviously the guys just run off. At the time, because I was on it, I didn't feel nothing. I was trying to catch the guy. And then people from the hotels come out, the public, they come out, they say to me, mate, you're bleeding heavy. I remember someone putting this thing around my head, like to stop the blood. They call the ambulance, the police come, they block the roads off, the air ambulance come.
And something else happened. You were actually wanted at the time.
I was wanted, yes, you're right.
So you got nicked for breach of bail as well.
I was, yes. I had, you're right. When I woke up the morning at London Hospital, I had 10 police officers around my bed. Do you know what I'm saying?
But congratulating you on this occasion for being a Havergal hero. You've got to give it. Yeah.
But also, they wanted a statement, which I couldn't provide because I didn't know who it was, what it was. They were asking me for this statement. I said to them, listen, mate, I don't know who the guy was. Do you know what I mean? I don't like really associating with police in that sense.
I get it. Yeah.
You know. So but at the time, yes, I was wanted as well. And then I had to go in front of the thing, but obviously I didn't. And you went there for me.
You did. I had to explain to the judge. There's 150 stitches here, and fingers nearly severed, and injuries to the head. And the judge was very sympathetic.
Yes.
So you're now at St George's?
No, London Hospital.
So you're now at the London Hospital. Yeah. You've got 10 police officers around
my table, around my bed,
But for the first time in a very long time, you're not the suspects.
I weren't a suspect. No, they wanted obviously
statements as well.
Statements.
Okay. So you were wanted for failing to attend court as well.
Yes, I was.
You'd breached your bail conditions.
Yes.
And then we had to go to court and make submissions before the judge.
Correct.
And it was a very eminent judge.
Yes.
Who in fact took on board all that had happened.
Yes.
And passed on a sincere sympathy towards your injuries and granted you bail as well.
Yeah.
Look,
that's right. Yeah. She was. I mean, obviously, yes, I did breach the court. I didn't go to court, which was I did. I was at breach, but due to the incident, obviously, that I was involved in, obviously, the judge was very sympathetic and did grant me the bail again. Do you know what I'm saying?
But again, just on a final note, again for those listening, it was the homeless man who was worse for wear, helping an innocent passerby.
Yes.
Nobody else helped.
That's right. It was only because, I mean, to be honest with you, it was a young lady. At that time of the night, she was very young. She was like maybe about 19, 20. And this guy, some guy walking up to her with a balaclava on. Do you know what I mean? Threatening her, grabbing her bag, dragging her on the floor.
Yeah.
It's not a good scene.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've never done that in my criminal history. Yeah. I would never do that. I would never do it to a public member. Do you know what I'm saying? No. Yes, I did do it to Tesco's, Morrison's and things like that. Yes. They're big companies, they can afford it.
I get it, but we're not here to sympathise.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you for coming in. On a final note, I wish you all the success in your life.
Thank you very much.
I hope you prosper, and hopefully you've made it with your family, kid, and if anything, you're on to bigger, better things.
Inshallah.
Thank you for coming. Take care of all this.
Cheers.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.